Welcome to FootballGameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our NFL Week 13 preview between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cleveland Browns. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Jags. The Jacksonville Jaguars can have some success throwing the football this week versus the Cleveland Browns, and they can also play games with the strong safety. I'm going to show you how they can do that depending on where he's aligned pre-snap. Now right now we have a double tight end set. We have the receiver flanked at the top of the number, so we have him spaced out wide, and that's going to put this dude in the bind, the strong safety. We're going to try to play games with the strong safety. If he's aligned tight to the line of scrimmage, to the formation, then that tells me he can't get underneath the speed out. So that is a side adjustment. The tight end that's flex, he's running the speed out, and you're also telling the quarterback that he can't get underneath this curl, or hitch, I'm sorry. So now the quarterback has a two-way go. He has the speed out or he has the hitch, because the strong safety is tight to the line of scrimmage. He's going to be in chase mode versus the speed out, and he's too far away versus the hitch if he decides to play zone or what have you. So you have two options if he's tightly aligned to the line of scrimmage. Now, if he's splitting the corner and the outside backer, if he's aligned here, now you have an issue. Okay, what do we do? That tells the inside tight end that he's going to run the turn route. Boom. By him being split, he can't get underneath this turn route because you're also sending this tight end up the seam, and that also creates that void for this hitch, so this turn route, I'm sorry. So that tells you right there, you have a two-way go. Now you also put this free safety in the bind, having to get over top. So that's how they can play games with the strong safety, depending on if he's aligned in between, if he's aligned in between splitting the corner and the backer, then you have the turn route or the takeoff. Or if he's tightly aligned to the line of scrimmage, you have both the hitch and you have the speed out. So again, pre-snap reads are critical for a quarterback, and reading the strong safety this week versus the Cleveland Browns could help the Jacksonville Jaguars generate big plays or just move the chains via the pass. The one running play the Cleveland Browns will see a lot of this week versus the Jacksonville Jaguars will be the outside zone. They have to be ready to defend the outside zone if they want to slow down Maurice Jones-Drew in that ground game. I'm going to show you how they can defend the outside zone. The outside backer, he can't get reached, so he has to take an even wider angle outside to try to seal the edge, because he has two inside guys to help stop the cutback. So he can't get reached, has to come along the outside. You're going to have the cornerback attack the inside shoulder of the wide receiver. He has to get on the inside of that block, because again, he has a guy that's going to come around on the back end and help him out. So what we're going to do here, we're going to have the play side 5 technique, try to get on his inside, try to turn that tackle inside. Don't allow himself to get reached either. We're going to have the middle backer push to the outside shoulder of the tight end, and we're also going to have the safety crash up and try to meet the middle linebacker right here as well, because again, we're trying to force everything back inside. That's why we have the outside linebacker take a wider arc, try to force things back inside. We have two help defenders here. Try to get the center turn by the nose tackle. Everyone is playing pursuit. And what we're going to have on the back end, we're going to have the safety play the outside run, the cutback here. He's going to plant and come down. He's playing this alley here. We're going to have the corner come over top of him in case this guy gets outside, and there's your help right there. So that's how you can play the outside zone. It's keyed upon the outside backer not getting reach block and funneling the running play back inside to his two help defenders. If they can do this, and we have the weak side inside linebacker playing the cutback in case he cuts it back across the field, that's his defender, and the cornerback and safety are also responsible for the cutback. That's why they're slow playing the front side play, the outside zone. So again, outside linebacker can't get reach, funnel everything inside to your two help defenders, and the 5 technique and the under technique on the strong side, they can't allow themselves to get reached. They actually have to turn the shoulders of the tackle and the center. If the Browns can do this, they're going to slow down the running game. They're going to put the Jaguars in second and long and third and long situations, which is a win for that defense. So again, all of it is imperative, or all of it is depending upon that outside linebacker not getting reached and setting the edge and funneling everything back inside to where his help is. Now here are some coaching points for both teams in this ball game. For Jacksonville, the heat has to be on level 10. Brandon Wheaton is a quarterback with very little mobility and doesn't feel the pressure very well, so there are opportunities, plenty of opportunities, to get him on the ground with A-gap and B-gap pressure. And the wide receivers have to play elite from the neck up. The Browns send a lot of pressure, so the receivers have to be able to win pre-snap and know when they are the hot read and make the adjustments accordingly. And the linebackers can't bail into their coverage too quickly. You have to overread the run versus the Browns. They run a lot of gap, sprint draw, maybe some running back delays, and you don't want to be out of position versus the running game, otherwise they can gash you on the ground. And for the Browns in this ball game, you can't allow yourself to get picked if you're in the secondary. You keep your fundamentals, communicate effectively when the Jags go to the bunch formation. And you also want to lean on that ground game. Jacksonville gives up over 133 yards on the ground. Attempts are more valuable this week, and it's the best way to help out Brandon Wheaton back there in the pocket. And it's imperative that they stay ahead of the chains. All things being equal, Brandon Wheaton has to protect the football and be efficient. And if he can do that and help this offense stay ahead of the chains, they have a great chance of knocking off Jacksonville. Now, here are some in-game adjustments that you want to watch out for in this ball game. For Jacksonville, their defensive ends versus the Browns' offensive tackles in the running game. I know I spoke about the Browns having to step up and stop the outside zone, but the Jags, quite honestly, have to do the same. They can't allow themselves to get reached, and they have to win that cross in the face of the Browns' offensive linemen when they run that outside zone. And on defense, playing the passing game out of the spread formation will be key. Do they bracket the slot receiver, whomever it is, whether it's Gordon, Best, Little, or even Jordan Cameron, or do you just focus on Gordon, bracket him, and trust your personnel elsewhere to win one-on-one? And keep an eye on how they get Maurice Jones-Drew involved in the offense. Will it be a volume of early carries or a variety of touches, like mixing in some swing passes or screen passes in between traditional carries out of the backfield? And for the Browns in this ballgame, you want to see how they protect Brandon Wheaton. If the Jaguars are able to get early pressure, keep an eye on what Shazinski and Turner will do to ensure he stays protected in the pocket, whether they do it with personnel, creative formations, or start moving him off the spot. And the defensive line pressure will be key as well. In addition to the many exotic looks defensive coordinator Ray Horton throws at an offense, it'll be interesting to see what he does with this defensive lineman, because there's an advantage up front, whereas if they get creative, they can win those individual battles along the line of scrimmage. And you also want to keep an eye on the role of Chris Ogbonnaya. He's essentially a running back that's playing the fullback position and also has the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, which gives the Browns a little bit more versatility on offense. So look for them to find ways to expand that Jaguars defense horizontally by working him in the passing game. The X factor for the Jaguars will be their third down defense. Like I've said before, their defense isn't that bad. They've actually played well defensively despite their running numbers, but I think if they're able to win early in the down and distances, get to third down, and then get off the field, the Jaguars have a great chance of knocking off the Browns on the road. And the X factor for the Browns will be quarterback Brandon Wheaton's play. Can he be efficient within this offense? Can he keep the offense ahead of schedule and on pace? If he can just play efficient and not be a game breaker or cause his team to lose this ball game, the Browns can win. But again, it's all about being efficient and understanding what you're seeing in coverage and also getting into the right calls to protect yourself along that offensive line. I like the Browns in this ballgame. I love what they do defensively. They get versatile in their pressure packages and also back there in coverage. And I think their defense will do a great job in smothering the Jaguars offense. So I like the Browns to win this one at home. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Brown fan forums and Jaguar fan forums for always showing football game plan support.